Welcome back to 1010's podcast. My name is Michael Beck, of course, and Handsome Rob is here. And Adam decided to show up this week.
Nice to see you, Adam.
I'm pretty excited to be back. I'm really
Couldn't help but notice that you
the
weren't
family's
here.
feeling better.
Okay,
I'm
good.
able to pull away. Grandma's watching the baby actually. So
Solid.
Oh, smart.
yeah.
And sounds like you had a great time listening to the podcast last week. You agreed with everything that we said. There was no arguments at all this week with us
yeah,
via
so
text message.
I can't.
I never once heard a message from him saying that was bullshit.
I can't say that I agreed with it all, but it wasn't worth the fight.
Oh, we have beat
That's
him.
no fun
We
at all.
have beat him down.
Joss and I have things to talk about, but whatever.
That's separate. This is our podcast.
Yeah,
You can deal with
okay,
your
fair
personal
enough.
problems later.
But I'm proud of him for getting rid of that Mercedes-Benz nonsense and buying a real good Audi.
Oh my God.
I do love a good Audi. I loved the Mercedes, but I do approve of his purchase.
Yeah, I like the
Purchase of
older A6s. There's nothing wrong with those.
Absolutely not.
They're good cars.
You can't even say that with a straight face.
Except
there's nothing good
The
about him.
blue leather. Was it his or was it yours?
Mine had blue leather.
Okay, so then we're going to... Really?
What's wrong with blue leather?
Blue leather?
Yeah, it was sweet.
Did
it's
you,
a very
when you were
rare
driving
option.
down the road, did you go red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather, red
I
leather,
don't even
yellow
know what
leather,
that
blue?
What are you referencing?
Do you know what that is?
Just singing that stupid tongue twister song?
What?
I've never once heard of this thing.
You guys need to work on... apparently, you never did any music or
How old are you?
stage work in high school?
No, I was not super popular with the stage,
drama
the
crowd?
drama club.
No.
or the
No, I played guitar,
singing
so-
and dancing.
I didn't speak. I just strummed.
I just played guitar, yeah. That was enough of a panty
All right,
dropper.
fair enough.
I didn't do any of that stuff.
Now that the whole world knows I was I wasn't a drama.
Drama
Were
geek.
you in show choir
No, I wasn't, but I dated
I
a
could-
couple girls that were.
at the same time?
No.
Damn.
I want to pretend that was a yes.
I think it was a yes. He didn't seem very confident in that answer.
I wasn't that good at that sort of
Wasn't that
thing
guy.
when I was in high school.
What about after high school?
I don't want to talk about it.
Well, welcome back. We're semi-glad that you're here. But for
I
everybody
appreciate
else,
that.
you can find us on all of our social media pages. 1010's Podcast everywhere. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, 1010spodcast.com. Everybody should probably have their shirts by the time this comes out,
I
correct?
hope so.
They'll at least be in the mail if you live far away.
Yeah.
I'll mail out the ones that are far away this week. I'm going to deliver a handful this week as well.
Are we going to Sioux Falls next weekend?
Assuming the car is done, which it's on schedule to be, which I've said for many weeks in a row.
What day is it supposed to go on the dyno, though?
That's still tentative as far as I know.
The injectors are there?
Injectors are there.
Okay.
Josh sent me pictures of him installing them.
At 7:30 at
Yeah,
night.
he stayed late to fix Robbie's
Which
race
brings
car,
up the
just in case a dyno session opened up.
And I am scheduled for further into May, but he's hoping it shouldn't take that long.
Further into May?
Yep.
They're
they're booked out
They're
weeks.
generally 4 to 6 weeks out on dynos
That's crazy.
at all times.
Which brings up the question now, did I pay him overtime shop rate for him to do this at 7:30 at night, or is he doing it out of the goodness of his heart?
I can only hope that he charged you double time.
I'm assuming it's
I
at
think
least
he gave
double.
I think he gave you the friends of the podcast discount,
Yeah, that's double.
which is probably
yeah, it goes up, actually. It's not
they
any
owe us
cheaper.
because they got a bunch of extra followers on Instagram after we tagged them and Precision, and then Precision reshared it.
and that's what's important. Shares and likes on Instagram.
Yeah, we got them more people who are interested in what they are doing. That's only going to bring them more business.
Absolutely. We should waltz
So-
in there like celebrities.
So anybody who's listening to this right now and owns a business, we're a viable advertising group for you.
Yeah.
Just let us know.
Yeah, it actually worked out pretty well for them.
And us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everybody
won.
Everybody won.
Absolutely.
That's the great thing about this podcast, at least.
Oh, yeah.
So contact us via our social media to
Or email. We love getting business emails.
get set up to be a sponsor. We'd love to have you.
Neat.
What did we do this week?
I didn't really do anything this week.
Yeah, this week was kind of a dud. We didn't have anything going on this weekend. And we did the podcast with Joss on Tuesday, which was awesome.
That gets me a couple of times.
Yeah,
Josh.
because our
Yeah.
first guest was Josh, and then our second guest was Joss.
It's a little bit confusing.
Yeah, and even your phone wants to autocorrect it to Josh.
My phone's given up on doing that, actually.
Okay. Well,
Just like it doesn't autocorrect sleuts anymore, it's accepted the fact that sloot is a word,
word,
that I'm
yep.
going to use. And Slutenhosen. It actually accepts Slutenhosen now.
have you just been texting random people?
Yeah, how often do you
Slutenhosen?
say Slutenhosen?
Apparently not often to you, but
Not to
No,
me.
we don't talk about it.
Slutenhosen's the great. So for those that don't know, I coined the term Slutenhosen, which is yoga pants, but like in German.
And we've not
if
really
German,
used it.
if we could speak German, we would call yoga pants Slutenhosen.
I mean, you're not wrong.
It's going to take off. He also
it'll be a
coined,
thing.
He coined the term slooting, which is the
Slooting.
action of chasing bad bitches.
Yeah, banging bad bitches is called slooting.
You know what? That'll work.
Yeah, it's
That'll
like
work.
a sport.
Yeah. So now it's
like a
coming to your Olympic Games.
so now it's
soon.
a verb as well as a.
We've taken what
adjective.
Blue Mountain State started
Yes.
to a whole nother level.
Now is this? Now are we going down this rabbit trail? So what does this all entail? Does this entail the game that is like nagging a girl and getting her to think she's not pretty, but then she's really pretty and like
No, it doesn't have to be. It doesn't
Why
have
are
to
we
be
bringing her
anything
down?
specific.
I don't know. I don't know
Build
your
her
pickup
up,
artist
Robbie.
rules.
Build her up.
Yeah, build her up, Robbie.
Okay.
It can be whatever works for you. Slooting is whatever you want to make of it.
Apparently, what works for Robbie is bringing himself down, and then the girl feels sorry for him and tries to bring him back up.
Brilliant. It really is brilliant.
It's not a bad
I'll play the pathetic card. And
As long as you've got a game plan going into it, it's considered slooting, and I'm fine with it.
Just like when I'm buying things from Lowe's on the company credit card and my name's not actually authorized for it, confidence is key. If you look like you know what you're doing, no one will question it.
That's true. Smart.
How did we get here? What were we?
Who cares how we got here?
Salute on his text phone.
So anyway, this week was a little bit slow. Last week, though, we had a lot of stuff going on last
It was
week.
quite the weekend.
Yeah, we
For
were,
us, for
we were
you and
busy.
me, Michael.
Yeah,
Robbie was
Robbie
lollygagging.
couldn't be bothered with doing anything car related.
I was very busy.
Would you say that you were slooting?
No, I was not even a little bit.
Then no one wants to hear about it.
Yeah, keep it to yourself. So Adam and I.
I don't even get a chance to be like, oh yeah, I had this other thing going
No,
on.
it
at this
wasn't
place.
sleuthing.
not
You don't
in-
get to
not
defend
interested.
it.
Listen, this podcast is about cars, and then secondly about slooting. And if that's not what you're going to talk about, get the fuck out.
I was at my buddy's wedding party.
That has nothing.
got it.
to do
Yeah, we
with-
got it in there.
That was nothing
All
to do with
moving
sleuting.
on.
That's the well, it could have been sleuting. Did
Was
she
it
not have
sleuting?
any good bridesmaids or anything?
They were all married.
What kind of wedding is this?
This
It's
is
the
what
same
happens.
problem. It's gonna.
No, this
be
one-
at
This
your
is what
wedding.
happens when you're 28 and finally just
Yep.
getting around to getting married.
Yep.
Then
There was
Everybody else is married.
everyone else was already married.
also
Yeah.
it was a small wedding full of like friends and family. So like there was mostly just family, and then like a handful of friends that we all knew each other. There was none of this crazy party. It was last call 9:30.
That's my kind of wedding.
This is my fear for Adam's wedding.
I was sober and drove all the way back to Des Moines Saturday night so we could watch the Formula One race. And by we, I mean by myself.
At least he had race car priority.
He did.
He made
I
race
made
cars
it
a
back.
priority.
I watched the Chinese Grand Prix at 1
He
a.m.
put racing over sleuting, and I'm okay with that.
That said, he could have come to the autocross with us on Sunday, except he chose not to show up.
I forgot. I forgot you guys were doing
Wait,
it.
this is a podcast about cars. This is what we do, and you didn't show up to the.
I didn't
autocross.
get any text messages
There's
about
a-
it until after
there's
the
a
fact.
It
whole
was a
calendar.
business meeting.
It
Yeah.
also sounds like I did a good job of missing the not super
we had
fun
a ton
bit.
of fun.
We had fun.
Tell me
It was
about
a
it.
little shaky.
Should we talk about that? Let's
can
go,
ta-
let's talk about cars and coffee first. Let's go chronologically.
Okay, so we went to Cars and Coffee on Saturday morning. Our friends at Cars and Coffee Des Moines Cars and Coffee.
It's Cars and Coffee Des Moines.
Cars and Coffee Des Moines.
Yes.
Not the other one, which isn't called that.
No, that's Des Moines Cars and Coffee.
That is really confusing. There should be different names.
One's a group, one's a page on Facebook.
One's also a nonprofit, which I didn't realize.
And good for them.
Cars and Coffee Des Moines, yes,
Yes.
is a nonprofit.
Nice.
So they've been talking about doing some other events other than just Cars and Coffee. Then hopefully those will be somewhat charity events. And I think that'd be cool. We should definitely be a part of it.
We could turn into a charity rally.
That's That's exactly where we're going with this.
Yet again, we have private discussions about business things that we may do in the future.
No, because now we're building excitement for our charity
Robbie
rally.
just blew his load all over our rally.
We're building excitement for our charity rally.
So at some point, maybe we might do a rally if people are interested, and if they are interested, I guess let us know because now we have to do it because Robbie said we were going to.
Also, in the last week, we had the only thing car related I had was that the transmission is starting to go out in the Rogue, which has led to discussions with Adam about how my reliable daily is not super reliable.
It's completely crap.
I've never had any transmission troubles with the S10. I'm just saying.
Yeah, dumping oil on my driveway.
When you have a
doesn't come from the
manually
transmission.
shifted transmission that was designed in 1912 and has worked this long, you don't have problems with them.
The problem is he's got a rubber band in there.
Yeah,
The stupid CVT transmission.
He's had his rubber. You can only stretch a rubber band so much. You know what I mean?
It's been
If you're-
stretched too many
If you're
times.
playing with them at the office,
Yeah.
they start to wear out. They get dry or whatever, and then they break. And that's the problem with your transmission.
Yep. Now, there's a service bulletin from Nissan that says to replace the fluid. What was supposed to be a lifetime fluid obviously only lasts. I think now the new accepted general practice is you go 60,000 miles and then 30,000 mile replacement intervals ever since.
That's a very Audi thing to do.
I would agree.
It's lifetime. Shit.
No, it's not.
Didn't work.
Yep. So I'm going to try replacing the fluid and hope that whine and shifting problem goes away.
Maybe the whine is because you have straight cut gears.
No, you still got the rubber band.
It almost sounds like a supercharger. I mean, a really broken one.
God, that's
but
got to be a terrible noise. And you put like 4 hours worth of wear on it this weekend?
I sure did.
That was a brave maneuver.
Oh, yeah. Well, I noticed that if I keep it under 60 miles an hour, I don't have any issues. And if I don't have my air conditioning on. Or cruise control. So needless to say, I limped it everywhere I've gone last week.
Audi Rogue? Is that what this is?
Yeah.
I think they teamed up based on the performance issues I'm having.
Yeah, there's clearly some German engineering involved in this.
So I'm not a huge fan of the CVT transmission as of late.
Well, at least he can admit that.
So if anybody goes back and listens to our daily driver argument, please disregard everything that Robbie said in that because it's not valid.
Also, while driving in Missouri this weekend, I was on State Highway E. That is the funnest highway I've ever been on. It's like a roller coaster, nothing but hills and curves.
There's curves and stuff too.
I really wished I had an impractical
Is there a lot
daily.
of trees like right up against? You feel like you're
There
driving through.
There wasn't a lot of trees. There was one time I was going over a hill, and I was going the speed limit, but
Obviously.
tractor right there. Well, actually, with the transmission in the shape it is, I was going the
probably
speed limit.
going under the speed limit.
But it's still a lot of fun. So I think we should all go out there with our race cars.
Yeah, it's called Let's Go to Lake of the Ozarks.
I don't think you take Highway E to get to Lake.
It doesn't matter because once
There's
you get
probably
down,
better roads
once
by
you get
the
down
lake.
that far, you're in that lake territory.
Yeah, we got to do it.
Everything,
Even northern Missouri, where Katie has some family that lives north of Kansas City,
yeah.
and even there's some
Decent
surprisingly
roads there.
good roads. And I don't know what it is about Missouri, but they paved everything. There's so little gravel roads.
Yep.
So, because we'd have some decent roads around here if they paved everything.
True.
But they
Seems
did.
like they do better road maintenance there too, or maybe there's just less people driving on the roads.
Not where I was.
Really? Because
I guess I was so far. I was almost off the grid technically.
oh yeah,
'Cause
he was in a place with no cell service.
I had no cell service for 2 straight days. And
So
it
we
was,
blew his phone.
It was
Yeah.
awesome.
How many messages did you have from us?
This morning I think I had 23. And
Oh, that's nothing.
And then yesterday I had at least that many. Plus
That's lame.
Plus
We-
all the other missed calls and texts and stuff.
We sent him way more than that. I bet we sent probably 200 messages.
Well,
to
all
him
of your
over the
all of your
weekend.
pictures came way out of order. It's like I would get messages randomly, and they weren't in order. So then I'd obviously didn't even have my phone on me, so I'd check it later. And so then I'd have some messages, and then later, once I had reception, I'd get all your pictures.
So you had no context for anything that we sent.
Well, that I also didn't read it.
It was just all confusing.
It would have been confusing had I read it.
Good. That's all we were going for.
And then Adam's on his phone now because that's more important than our podcast.
It is.
So after we did Cars and Coffee, we went
We didn't
to...
really talk about the cars and coffee.
What do you want to say about
I don't know. There's some cool stuff there. It was fun.
A lot of Vipers.
There was that guy. Yeah, there was a lot of Vipers.
Yeah.
There was one of every gen there at one point.
Yeah,
I don't think they weren't all parked together,
but they were all there.
but there was one of every gen Viper, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
There was that guy with, what was that? Was it a Chevy truck?
Yeah, it was like a 70 Chevy C10.
That guy that just came out of left field,
Yeah.
started Michael and I are walking down, and Michael kind of stopped to take a picture, real quick, just not anything serious. It's not like we've been standing there for 10 minutes just oogling this truck. And this dude comes like sprinting out of left field, just as fast as he could to tell us everything about it. And then he was telling us about how he's got drag slicks for it, and he'll line up against anybody. And then he had to start it. And Michael and I wandered away, but Chaz couldn't escape.
Got stuck.
It was hilarious.
Yeah. That was a later one. That was like a 80s C10. I thought you were talking about the ridiculous turbocharged 70 C10. That thing was nuts.
Yeah, had a giant turbo on it. Turns out, after we posted the pictures, Josh texted me and goes, "Hey, that patinaed looking C10, that was at the shop last week. We just tuned it."
That's awesome.
We have no idea how much power it made, but it was way more than it should have made considering the brakes that were on it.
Yeah, it still had drums in the back.
Holy cows.
Dude's got an LS with a turbo that I could sleep inside of and drums on the back.
Yeah, terrifying. I don't care what you're doing with it. That shit's scary. Even driving that on the road.
Josh said that it was built specifically for power tour, which apparently is a thing. People like build cars just to go on power tour.
I don't really get that.
I don't either.
What exactly is power tour?
It's like a cruise, but there's literally 10,000 cars, and it's like over 5 days, and you just drive from city to city to city. They have a route.
It's hot rod power tour.
Hot rod power tour.
So it's kind of like a rally?
But it's kind of more
really.
like a cruise.
It's a cruise.
Yeah.
Quite literally a cruise.
And you have to pay to be on it?
Yeah.
So you got to register and pay.
I assume that we could probably do like what we did with Cruise to the Woods.
And just show up.
Just show up and then, oh, you didn't pay. You're right. And go left instead of right.
Yeah, did you know that about Cruise to the Woods?
He probably doesn't even know what Cruise to the Woods is.
Okay, explain Cruise to the Woods first.
Cruise to the Woods is basically power tour, except one day and much shorter. But there's like,
where is it?
There's probably 15 or 20 routes that all they start way out in the far corners of the state, and they go through towns and they stop, and then as you're going, they start out with like 15 routes, and they slowly meet with each other at major points, and then eventually all these cars converge on Stratford, Iowa, which is literally a town of like 500 people, and there is cars 4 wide up and down every street in Stratford. There's, 2,000, 3,000 cars that show up.
It's pretty sweet.
And then everybody leaves Stratford and drives some of these, for Iowa, twisty back roads, and then goes through Dolliver State Park and ends up in Fort Dodge at a car show.
Huh.
So it's a good time. It's a lot of fun.
Sounds not bad.
It's a lot of muscle cars and stuff like that. Not a lot of the cars that we're super interested in.
But
but we're going to try and get some more of them there.
That R32 was there last year, though.
There was an R32 there.
That
gray, Tommy Carrera one.
Tommy Carrera one. He came. He was there. But yeah, it's still primarily muscle cars.
There was a Metropolitan with a small block Chevy shoved into it. And I don't know if you know what a Metropolitan is, but it's literally the length of this couch.
Terrifying.
And
awesome.
Like you have to sit sideways in there because his pedals are smashed up against the outside of the car because the transmission is in the way.
Seems like a bad idea.
It's crazy.
It looked
just the greatest
terrifying.
It's like driving a coffin.
Terrifying.
Awesome.
So there's a route to go from, what was that little town?
Stratford?
Go from Stratford to Fort Dodge. There's a route.
Right.
And so you get to this T intersection leaving Stratford, and they say if you've paid, you go right.
Right.
And if you haven't paid, then you got to go left.
Except what they don't know is that when you go right, those are all the more boring roads. And I know all those roads like the back of my hand because I drive them when I go home.
Yeah.
And when I go to Katie's parents' house. So if you go left, that takes you through the significantly more entertaining roads. And so Michael and I are like, yeah, we'll just go left. Thanks.
Yeah. They're like, oh, did you pay the $15 registration?
And then
no.
10 miles down the road, you just join back in with the cruise again because those roads intersect.
Yeah, so now you're back on the cruise.
And then you're just off again. It's whatever.
Yep.
Huh. Kind of a weird.
Kind of stupid.
Kind of weird, yeah.
So, anyway.
So are we showing up with our cars this year?
Yeah, we're definitely going to show up with our cars and just mess things up.
All right, when is this?
October?
It was cold.
Nice.
Yeah, you got to have a heater.
I got a heater, just no air conditioning.
Nah, you don't need air conditioning.
It was chilly, for sure. I did not bring enough coat that day. I was dying.
I know he didn't bring any coat at all.
I don't own a coat. I have sweatshirts.
Do you seriously not own a coat?
No, well, I have a Carhartt I have for work.
But you only wear that when you're at work.
when I'm at work.
It's like when you get off.
So all I have is sweatshirts.
It's like at 19 degrees out.
Sweatshirt.
You just take your coat off and go into your car and go home.
Yep.
And you live in Iowa.
Yeah. But I'm not a bitch.
It's been like negative 30 in the morning sometimes.
And I wear a sweatshirt.
I complain when it's 40 because I am a big pussy when it comes to that.
I hate hot, which is also a terrible place to live here in Iowa. if you hate hot.
I like the heat.
I can handle the heat.
I don't
Bring
like
the heat on.
I don't like a
Bring it
lot of heat.
on.
I don't like it.
Like I drove 2.5 hours without air conditioning today, and I was fine.
Yeah, that was
It's not
kinda,
hot out.
That was by choice, though.
It was 85. Well, it was 85 when I left.
Seriously, it's 85 down there?
Yeah, I think so.
I should move to Missouri.
It's 81 here. Did you see that?
Yeah, I was gonna say
It's
like,
not
it's
80
hot.
degrees outside.
It is, dude.
Yes, it is.
It's windy though.
Yeah,
It's 80. I'm fact
I
checking here.
swear to God, it's
Give me a
80.
It was
second.
80. I think it was 84, 85 when I left.
Hot damn, it's 79 degrees
Yeah.
outside right now.
Told you.
Wow.
Your internal thermometer is broken.
It's race season.
I thought it was cold.
No,
No.
I was like, it's 60 degrees outside. What are you people talking about?
No, it's super
It's
windy.
45-mile-an-hour winds.
Again, welcome to Iowa.
Well, yeah, it's always
And Missouri.
windy. When there's a light breeze is 25 miles an hour.
Yeah, in Iowa, definitely.
All right, so tell me more about these cars and coffee things you did.
There was that SVO Fox body,
Super original.
which
super
was,
clean.
yeah, it was it was like all original.
I was all about it.
Super cool.
So the SVO Fox, you know what a Fox body Mustang is, right?
Yeah, like the worst one they ever made.
just come on, just gloss over it. We can come back to it if we want to, but for now, finish the explanation.
If there was a list of like the best Mustangs
No.
versus the worst Mustangs, where do you think that
Have
would
you
lie?
heard of something called the Mustang 2 or the
No, because
SN95?
the SN95, I'm with you, but diehard Mustang fanatics will not claim the Mustang 2.
Because it's the
There's a gap in manufacturing during those years where they quit making them and then picked them up again at the Fox body.
yeah, but they're the ones that'll be like, oh well, the Mustang's been around since 1964. What happened to the Camaro? Blah blah blah. Those are the same fucking people.
Yeah, you're right.
you're
I'm
right.
not arguing, but the Mustang 2 is by far the worst
It's
Mustang
so
ever made.
awful. Have you seen a Mustang?
And I
2,
would say
Robbie?
that the Fox body is the most versatile car or the most versatile Mustang
That's
that
an ugly
anybody's
car.
ever made.
Look up a Cobra Mustang too. That's
that's a
Cobra Mustang 2.
that's a
That's a
Mustang?
car.
yeah, terrible.
Wow, I never would have known that.
If it weren't for the most recent one, and somebody came up to me and they said you can pick one.
Oh,
Mustang.
I've seen the Cobra. I've seen the Cobra too.
It's
Yeah,
a bad deal.
Terrible.
It's like early rice.
Yeah.
It's terrible. That's
So
why I
anyway,
likes
the
it.
SVO is a Fox body Mustang, but it has a turbocharged four-banger in it.
So you were all about it.
Yeah, I love them. I think they're
I
awesome.
think it's cool. What's wrong with it?
And then
It's a Fox body Mustang.
that was the one. That one had the spoiler too, right?
Yeah, it had that dual.
The dual plane spoiler.
Yeah,
Kind of like a Merkur XR4 Ti, which is another car you don't have any idea what I'm talking about.
Robbie's learning so many things today.
Educate me on your awesome cars.
The 80s was a great time to be alive.
Is an SVO?
I was there
80s
for a
or is
year,
it
man.
early 90s?
I don't know, but the
Might have been early
Merkur
90s.
is the 80s.
That's 80s for sure.
I think the SVO is in the 80s.
It might have been late 80s. Yeah, early 90s. What else? What else was?
Move on to the
interesting
more
that was
interesting
there?
cars.
There was that lifted truck. We have to make fun of him.
Yeah,
There was a lifted, like brand new Ford
Is it-
F250 or a 350.
Well, what's the squat? The California squat?
No, it wasn't
Carolina squat.
No, it wasn't Carolina squatting.
Is that the stupid one where the
Yeah,
backs?
That's where they lower the back and or
Looks
they
like
leave
it's-
the back at stock height and they lift the front 2 inches.
so it looks like it's carrying a shit ton of weight in the back.
Yeah,
That's stupid.
but he wasn't squatting. He wasn't doing the Carolina
So
squat.
he just jacked it up.
He just jacked it up. But then he had like you guys would have been friends because there was lots of underglow everywhere, just lights.
That's
everywhere.
not true.
he had all his LEDs synced together.
But
too.
then, so like on the back side of the brakes, like
You sent me a picture of this, didn't you?
I don't.
I don't.
Is this
so.
the one that had the
I don't
the
think we took a
tailgate was
picture.
lit up? No,
No, I
that was
said
that was that
later.
Raptor
That was
you sent
later.
me.
But there was he had LED ring around the back side of his brakes,
Yeah, I've seen that.
and they would change colors, right? But they were timed with the LEDs in his headlights that also changed colors. And then the LEDs in his interiors that also changed. Like everything was like changing through the color spectrum.
Did he have a sweet sound system to make them change?
No,
No.
it was just rolling through the colors.
It's just sitting there off.
No, if he turned this into like a dance party with strobe lights, we'd all be into
Get
it.
stripper poles in the
That's
back.
what
and
I'm
stuff.
saying.
Yeah,
I'm
Yeah, yeah. If you had a retractable stripper pole that came
I'll
up through the back of the
I'll
truck,
give you a pass for that, but he didn't.
for sure.
At least he wasn't using it.
Was it like a cool color?
Cars and Coffee is a family function, so maybe the stripper pole isn't quite this isn't quite.
You could put it right off the.
Yeah, maybe we shouldn't run him over because we haven't seen it at night.
I'm gonna run him over because it's gonna be dumb at night too. It was bad, but
Yeah, whatever.
I don't know
So-
if there was anything else there that was
Of great
spectacular.
significance?
No, there was definitely some fun stuff there. We were there for a long time.
yeah, we did. I think the key to Cars and Coffee is to be there early.
Yeah, I could, like
It because
I've
we
seen that.
didn't get there till what 9:30 ish,
Yeah.
and it started at
8
8,
usually.
and we were there at 9:30, and it goes till noon, and we left at 11, and it was dead.
Yeah, well, you can't have coffee at noon. You need it at 8.
Michael begs to differ.
You can have coffee at any time.
I understand, but like if your first cup is at
Yeah,
8.
for the average person, sure. Yeah, you have 1 cup of coffee a day. Boring.
What kind of coffee?
For the
did
rest of us that are hardcore, you can drink coffee all day long.
What kind of coffee did you have, Adam?
I didn't because I don't
said-
have time for that.
You went to Cars and Coffee and had no coffee.
Yeah, I had a nuclear.
How many ounces of nuclear did you drink?
I don't know, whatever the cup was, or whatever the.
Did you get a big gulp of
No,
nuclear?
16.
they don't sell that anymore.
He got it in a can.
You can't get it in the tap.
You can't get it up. They replaced that with a Kickstart.
Why don't you get
So I
Kickstart?
can get Mountain Dew Kickstart
if-
on the tap.
On the tap. It's not a fucking bar. On the fountain, you mean?
The fountain, whatever. It's a tap to me.
Yeah, it's a tap if you pull it. It's a fountain if you push it.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing. It's no big deal.
I understand.
Adam has a weird penchant for
He won't.
fountain drink energy drinks.
He won't drink coffee, but
Because
he'll
you can
drink-
get 64 ounces of high caffeine beverage for like $1.59.
and also 150 grams of sugar.
If you get the
I
big
wear it
one,
well.
for sure.
It's whatever.
It's at least 150 grams.
I would turn your attention towards the sparkling
No, I'm
mineral
not-
water. I almost bought a Pierre at Cars and Coffee just to piss him off, just to
would've.
carry it around and take pictures of it.
Michael drinks all these fancy waters that with names that I can't pronounce. What is that one called?
I don't even know.
Exactly. If I can't pronounce it,
Gerolsteiner, it's German.
if I can't
Definitely.
pronounce it, I don't want to drink
Yeah,
it.
German quality since 1888, supposedly.
Yeah, that's what we want. German
Yeah, it's going
quality.
to break down. So let's move on.
Yeah, so you guys did
Let's
auto.
talk about the autocross.
Yeah, tell me about it. I missed it. I was very busy.
So
He was not busy.
in
being lazy.
typical fashion, the first autocross of the year, where we have the most new guys, they made a wild and crazy course, which I love. I really like it when they do
You gotta ease them into
complicated courses. But I was a little bit rusty, so
Obviously.
I was like, "Oh, buddy!" But
It
some
was
of these
3
people,
parking lots.
3 parking lots, 3 big.
So this
parking
was the
lots
one that was
with
Adventureland?
transitions. Yeah.
At Adventureland, yep.
I always confuse it. Like when we race there, I think of Sioux Falls because they have the parking lot to parking lot that has curbs on either side. Is that the same case?
Adventureland does
Same
too,
thing?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do people complain about they were going too fast through the thing with the curbs?
No,
I could crash.
I didn't really hear any of that.
There was a transition from one parking lot to the next that was just full throttle.
Everyone, and that got deemed the ramp.
Yeah,
Because there was a little bit of a dip
Bump.
there, and if you hit that at full throttle with the wrong car, you were going to through it.
Oh, yeah.
it wouldn't have been
not-
ideal if you had a big splitter on.
So
sure.
like your car
When you
or
have a
my car
slammed 240 SX
with a nice body kit. Yeah.
with a nice body kit, it's a bad day.
See, that's why I didn't go. I knew ahead of time.
See, there were no problems with my car because I had sawzalled the front of it
Yeah,
off
we had
before I got
modified
there.
it the night before. In
Tell me.
anticipation.
Tell me about this.
So I don't even know where to start with this because I'm so annoyed with this.
I went to Michael. Michael was kind of like he had voiced to me earlier in the week that he was kind of feeling down on the RX project, and I don't want him to feel down because he was talking about buying a 2016 STI instead, like selling the RX,
selling everything,
selling the Veloster,
selling the Fiat.
selling the Fiat, buying a new STI, and just driving that. And I was like, son of a bitch,
This
I gotta,
the
fucking
face.
blast
I gotta
me.
do
So
something.
What is
wait a
going
minute,
on
wait
I
a
got
minute.
to do something.
Wait a minute. The judgment coming from Robbie. This is coming from a guy that has a car in Sioux Falls that doesn't run, and then also has a car here that doesn't run. So
I have
I don't
two
want to hear
cars.
any,
I would argue-
any judgment from
I have
you.
2 cars that are broken as well, and I'm judging the shit out of you.
For the record, I just drove my car 2.5 hours with no issues.
with no air conditioning.
He only did 50 miles an
And
hour.
50
Not true.
miles an
And
hour.
he had
not
to
true.
have the windows down.
I went the
and
speed
he
limit the
couldn't
whole
use
way.
the cruise control.
And it made
But
a
he didn't
whining
have any
noise.
problem.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So your judgment.
It's still running.
Don't want to hear shit from you. Yours just leaks oil, so I'm not really concerned about that.
But I was like, I must stop this, right? So I was like,
Obviously.
well, you know what, man? I don't have a whole lot going on Saturday afternoon. Let's go out to your place. We'll work on the RX-7. We'll try and get a little farther, build him up a little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah.
I'm trying to be that guy, trying to help him out.
You're going to be an enabler.
No, he just wanted to.
No, I was
put parts on the
disabling
car.
him.
Yeah.
You're enabling him to finish his race cars.
Which is good.
Yes.
This is the good kind of enable.
Yes.
Which is not where I usually am. Because usually I'm telling people to make bad decisions.
Yeah, like get rid of my Rogue and buy like a 2-door RAV4.
Yeah,
Which
exactly.
at this point would be a good decision.
Because I sent you multiple 2-door Ravs this
Because
week
you can find one with less than 250,000 miles on it.
for like $2,500. I don't know why you haven't bought one yet.
Because it was in
But
Ohio.
anyway, so I went there thinking, oh yeah, we're gonna have a good afternoon. We're gonna get some plumbing done. We're gonna get some wiring done. We'll get the RX-7 a little closer to racing. Michael will feel better about his life. He won't become a Subaru bro and start vaping and
Oh,
get
man.
a flat build hat and
he's
I
wearing
have
a flat build
It
hat.
says Jegs on it, though.
yeah, but he'd have to start vaping. And so I just don't.
You'd have to
want him
continue
do that.
vaping in public.
I don't want him to do that.
When was the last time you vaped?
Never vaped.
Proud of you.
What's up with the judgment from him? Have you been on the internet and seen what 240SX owners do?
I know I need a haircut. I need to have the thing in my, like the shaved sides, and I need
You gotta
to
get a
vape.
skunk stripe.
Is that what they
Is
do?
that cool still, or is that dead?
Well, it's never been cool.
Oh, not bad.
I don't know. Is that what they do?
I don't know. Do they? You're the 240SX owner.
Yeah, but I don't drift. I don't do any of that stuff.
He bought some drift wheels.
From
a drifter.
X drift wheels.
Yeah,
But they're RPF ones. I mean, whatever.
They're not Volks.
that's true.
Wasting my time.
Who has money for Volks?
Drifters, apparently.
I don't get it.
But anyway, so I get there, and they have a brand new trailer they bought. A brand new enclosed trailer.
Hallmark trailer.
Of course they do.
Shut up, Robbie. Go fuck yourself.
There's some reasons for it that we don't need to talk about. It's fine. It's whatever. But so they were like, oh, yeah, we'll just load the Fiat real quick, Just put it in the car. This is a car trailer. This is
It's for
built
lowered-
to haul cars.
Lowered cars, race cars are made for this.
You go to
trailers
Hallmark
made for.
and you say, I want a trailer to put a car in. That's what they sell you.
Yeah.
It's got the escape door on the driver's side, so you can bail out the side if your car's
Yep.
too wide or go out the window or whatever. This is a car trailer.
Yep. So we're like, oh, we'll just load the Fiat real quick. Then we'll dive into the RX. We'll get a couple solid hours working on the RX. We'll go home. It'll be a great day. Michael will feel better. He won't buy a Super.
Yeah, so you're going to assume it's going to go smoother than when I put the 240 on the tilt back.
It didn't.
Obviously.
No.
4 hours later, Michael's laying on his side, cutting the last 2 inches off of his fiberglass lip that is like a limited run piece, so that he can get it into the trailer. Even though we've backed his dad's truck up onto plastic ramps, so like a foot tall to get the nose up in the air.
Yep.
And then we tried to he bought some race ramps to try and
Extend
lengthen out
Yep.
the door so that the angle of attack was less. None of it was happening.
None of it worked.
None of it was working.
You can't drive a
I can't
Fiat
believe it.
that's not even that low to the ground.
Yeah, his car's not that low.
No, it
onto
really
the
isn't.
trailer. So a few notes for those at Hallmark that aren't listening, but you should be. First of all, if on the trailer door there's a flip down ramp on the end of it, because obviously
on the very end.
the door is a certain thickness because this one's insulated, and then it's got a tailpiece that flips down once the door's down, so you can drive up onto the door. First thing I would recommend would be not having the hinge be on the outside of that flip down piece. So when you flip it down, the hinge sticks up. It's
Yeah.
not a recessed hinge.
The screws and the hinge itself both stick up.
So you got to
that's
drive
smart design,
So you
yeah.
got to get your lip over that. Which anybody that's got a race trailer is going to have a car that's going to have an issue going over that.
Yes.
The second thing would be if you're going to put a piece of aluminum angle on the end of that thing, which you should, because all it is really just a piece of plywood.
It needs some sort of
It
reinforcement.
needs some readjustment. It needs some reinforcement. Let's make it more than a millimeter thick, because the first time I drove the Fiat up onto the trailer, I ripped that piece of angle off of the edge of that flip down ramp.
That's just by
Just mangled it. You
just
should
by
have
rolling
seen
your tires over
Yeah,
it?
Yeah.
so it was on the concrete, the polished concrete of the shop floor, and it just, when I rolled up on there, they just slipped just a tiny bit, ripped that piece of angle off,
Shot it
shot it
back.
across the shop.
You're kidding me.
Could have killed somebody.
Oh man, you could have sued and got even more trailers.
The next thing I would
No, we
say,
don't want these. They're terrible.
the next thing I would say about that is let's put more than 4 screws in that because it's 7 feet wide. It needs more than 4 screws. That's the other reason why it ripped. Now the aluminum broke around the screws, so most of the screws were still in. 3 of the 4 screws were still in the aluminum. Yeah,
The aluminum was the weak point in that. That just
not the
blows my
4
mind.
screws, but the piece of aluminum.
Wow.
Bad. And then that flap needs to be more than 2 foot long.
Right.
It needs to be like 4 foot long so that you have a little bit more run at that door
So your tires will start to hit that approach
and bring you up.
and bring the car up, so that the lip will clear the trailer door and then get you on the right path to get into the trailer.
Just
Yeah, I never thought it'd be that.
how is putting a car in a trailer like what 4 hours?
Yeah, probably 3-4 hour job. It involved cutting up some other lumber, and we didn't even use the race ramps because we couldn't figure out how to make that work.
Now he has a system, so it's not as big a deal.
Right. Well, no,
But
he
it
cut a
shouldn't
splitter off
be
his car
that-
too.
Yeah,
so
he cut 2 inches off the bottom of that splitter.
how low off or how far off the ground was that? Like
Not that low.
4.5 inches.
No, yeah, 5 inches probably.
So, yeah,
And
like
you don't
basically
have
where the 240's sitting.
The front of the
Yeah.
Fiat doesn't have a ton of overhang either. I mean,
No,
it's not like
no.
it's a real long-nosed car and it was way out there.
No, you'd be super screwed if you had a splitter that actually stuck out the front flat.
yeah, that was
you'd be
functional.
So screwed. There's no way
There's
it would not
that
go
240
on.
would not go on at all.
No,
Yeah, well,
It's
like I was
crazy.
talking, when I took the 240 to Sioux Falls, my dad's like, "Oh, you should just get a tilt back." I was like, "That's
it
no
won't
way."
go up there. No,
That's what it was. That's what I got. It's the whole trailer basically tilts
Right.
to the angle, and that's the only thing I could get the 240 on, and it worked fine. I got it by myself in an hour, but yeah, it definitely was a lot better than what you got.
So now I understand why Factory 5 sells a $20,000 trailer.
because they bought a $10,000 trailer from Hallmark and
Yep.
then fixed all the problems that we ran into last weekend, and then turned it around and sell it for $20,000.
Right. So you can just take your Factory 5 818, drive it right up onto that trailer, no problem.
So yeah, we legitimately had this conversation like a couple weeks ago where we said, "Who would pay $20,000 for this stupid trailer?"
Turns out
Everybody should.
worth the money.
Yeah.
Worth the money.
Or if you buy a car trailer, just know you're not going to be able to drive your car in it.
Have you ever seen those airbagged open trailers?
Yeah.
Those are sick.
Yeah.
They're on bags, and you can drop the deck of the trailer all the way to flat ground, so it sticks up like 2 inches,
Yep.
and that's it. So cool. That's what I need to.
I think I've seen too. They've got trailers like that one that will actually squat that rear axle. So, and maybe the Factory 5 trailers do this too. So it's got I assume it's just an airbag on that rear axle, and you can drop that axle down. They'll give you a little bit better trajectory for getting the car up into the trailer.
Now these are literally airbag trailers. That's the name of the company,
That is.
and it drops the whole deck onto the ground. And there are pictures, I have seen them, of guys with their airbagged trucks that like they can drag frame.
Yep.
Driving down the highway with an airbagged car on the trailer, and they've got the air let out on the car on the trailer, and
See
the
where
air
this is
let
going.
out of the truck, and the air let out of the trailer, and sparks are just flying everywhere as they drive down the road because the truck and the trailer are dragging on the ground as they drive.
I'm going to go on the record and say I think that's a bad idea.
No, really? What was your first indication?
Was it the Sparks or
That's a $12,000 trailer that they're
Just
shaving the bottom of,
scraping on
right
the
off.
ground.
all I see when I see Sparks is rust.
Oh yeah.
And maybe that's
All
just
I
because we live in
see-
Iowa.
All I see is a way to ignite the gas tank hanging underneath your vehicle.
Or just impending death when something goes wrong or you hit a bump and the trailer gets stuck and then, that whole rig just goes spiraling off into the ditch. So stupid.
Living that low life.
So you did make it to cars and the autocross.
Yep. So we got the car in the trailer finally. Think there's a system for getting it in and out. We have to modify the trailer, but that's neither here nor there. We will figure it out.
We've gotten, long story short, 6 hours later, he's got a system. The car will be loaded and unloaded in normal time from here on out. But
It may still involve boards, though.
he'll have to set up something to get the car on and off of the trailer. And they still have to back the truck up onto those ramps that they have to get the front of the trailer up a foot. I mean, it's still a bunch of fucking around.
It's bullshit. If you spend that much money on a trailer, which does nothing, really, I mean, it's just a box. You would think you could use it for its intended purpose. That's my problem with it.
Yeah.
I genuinely think if you didn't lift the front end of that trailer up, you could not pull Katie's Focus onto that trailer without it dragging as you went up.
Yeah, you could drive the Rogue in there.
Yeah, which is like a foot off.
You couldn't drive a Veloster in there.
Would
No.
the Rogue clear the roof though? Yeah,
Maybe.
probably.
Yeah,
It
probably would.
Yeah, it's not very tall.
But that a crossover SUV, how many of those end up in enclosed trailers?
Right. It's all.
None.
It's going to be guys with muscle cars, which may or may not go up in there, or it's going to be guys with race cars, and those definitely won't go in there. So they built a trailer and then they didn't test it.
Long story short, you need to get a job at Hallmark and engineer the shit out of those things so that they work better, Robbie.
Where are they based out of?
I don't know, but I figure you can do all of this engineering from your desk upstairs.
That'd be the dream.
Or maybe we should start a
Work
trailer
from home?
company.
Let's
Oh
not
yeah,
talk-
we should put our business
start-
ideas on the podcast.
So anyway, once we got to the race,
Yep. So fast forward to the next morning.
Yes.
We're at the race. My car's still on jack stands, so it still does not run.
Is there an update on when your coilovers are coming in?
I'm hoping that they will ship this week, but I don't have
that'll be
any
don't
sort
know
of.
that for sure.
There's no timeline.
We are legitimately we're all going to be at the 11th hour to get our cars back and done before the first race that we all want to be at.
I'm not going to make it.
You're not making it to May 21?
May 21, I'm hoping to make.
That's
but
the first race
I
I
had
wrote.
originally wanted to be at was the 14th, and that I will not make.
Which one's that?
That was the test and tune that I specifically
Oh, in
requested
Oskaloosa.
myself, and the SCCA region said, "Yeah, sure, we'll give you a test and tune," and I'm not going to make it because I have a family function.
I had forgotten about that one. So yeah, that'd be the number one for me. But the fun one that I'm looking forward to is the 21st at
Yeah.
Marshalltown.
At NQS.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, the RX-7 will not be there for sure.
your Fiat will. That's what matters.
Fiat will be. I decided to buy a garage or two garages. That there's a house somewhere on the property, but I decided that maybe I should buy some space to put some stuff, and so that's putting a damper on finishing race cars.
That's all right. It needed to happen.
Yeah, I needed more garage space for sure.
Homeless Michael's not a good look.
Nope. It's
kinda
mainly just garages with small amount of house.
It's fine. It's got
That's
a
the
studio
way-
in
that's
it,
the
so
way
we're gonna
that-
feel.
yeah,
we're gonna be
it's
more
our studio.
We're
professional.
going to have a new place for us to do the podcast, and we're going to start doing video. So I'm excited about that.
We can Periscope.
We can do Periscope. We can do YouTube stuff. It's going to be great.
So anyway, since my car's not running,
Yes.
Chaz, friend of the podcast, Chaz, offered to let me co-drive his Miata. I don't know what year it is or anything like that. It's an NA. It's got a 1.6 in it. It's a Miata. It's got
Yeah,
Zetas.
It looks like all the other Miatas.
Yeah.
It's got a limited slip differential,
It's
I
got
think.
Zetas, which are like a $2,000 coilover setup,
Oh, nice.
and it's got a Torsen limited slip out of an NB in it.
Okay.
So basically a stock Miata.
What wheels wheels and tires were you running?
So that was the first time I've ever driven a car with street tires on it in an autocross situation. He had 200 treads on it.
Your Audi didn't have 200 treads on it?
I never autocrossed it,
He just did NQS.
which I don't quite
yeah.
count.
Okay, I will give you that then. Okay.
So, but yeah, he had 200 treads. I don't know any like 205s.
Okay, I could have swore he bought these
215s.
like ridiculous slicks that he was
He
running.
did, but he has to radius defenders or something to get them to fit. So
Okay.
they're not on the car
All right,
yet.
yeah, that's neither here nor there. Go on.
So he offered me a co-driver position because he wanted a second opinion on how the car drives. So this would be
So he hires the expert, I see.
yeah. So this is the first time I've ever driven a rear-wheel drive car in an autocross situation, and the first time I've ever driven a street-tired car in an autocross situation.
She's well qualified.
Yeah, so you're the odds are stacked against you a little bit.
Well, see, what I figured was because in my front-wheel drive car, I put the power down on, or I put the power
Right.
down real early.
Yes.
So if I can drive the Miata like a front-wheel drive car and not spin it, it's a fairly well-balanced chassis.
I would call that a fair assessment.
Turns out that not only does nothing happen when you push the long skiddy pedal on the right, because that 1.6 makes no torque, but it was my Omni rotates and oversteers better and more than that Miata did.
Ouch.
Because my plan coming into this was, this is my only chance to ever get the Traveling Drift King trophy, right?
It is.
Especially on someone else's
Someone
tires.
else's rear-wheel drive car, someone else's street tires. It's go time, right?
You are betting with
If-
house money.
if Chaz is able to drive home on these tires, then I failed for the day. That was my.
They're new, aren't they?
No, not those.
They were last year's tires.
Okay.
Cord showing.
But if he doesn't have cord showing, I have failed today. And so like it started on rev it up, whop, 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 dump the clutch. But that was the best I could get. I couldn't get it to slide out. I couldn't get it to drift at all.
So now you're understanding when everyone's like, "Oh, you can't drift a Miata." Now you understand.
They're right. Not a stock one anyway.
No.
That's for damn sure.
Okay.
But that wasn't the only problem with the Miata.
No. Well,
The other pedal didn't do anything either.
oh yeah. So
It's totally speechless.
the brakes were the worst brake pedal. That is the worst brake pedal of any car I've ever driven, period.
Like-
Race car
like to the-
scenario or not.
To the floor, like nothing.
Oh,
Yeah.
he mullered a bunch of cones
murdered.
straight through them.
Boom!
We were sitting there. I was
murdered
talking to somebody else, and you hear, and you see Adam just plow through a box.
I was 10 mile an hour faster than I should have been coming into that Chicago box because I couldn't get that thing to wheel down. And my Omni, like you push the brake too hard and it'll throw you through the front windshield and it will
Yes.
run you over.
What was really funny was I was standing next to somebody, and he goes, "Jesus Christ!" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's not his car." So
Of course, there's a big group, Michael, in that group of people who know me. So everybody starts clapping. Yeah! And I can hear them standing like, damn it. And Chaz was in the passenger seat when it happened.
Perfect.
trying to be professional. We're trying to set a tone that we're race professionals. We're here to network and meet people. And then Adam just clobbers a box.
But so at the end of the day, if you only look at clean runs,
Yes.
I beat Chaz by 2 seconds in his own car.
And that's the last time we ever heard from Chaz.
He hit a cone in one run and was within a half a second of me.
But you still beat
that's
him.
not a clean run, so it doesn't matter. And even if that would have been a clean run, I still would have beat him by a half second.
Man, we are burning bridges today.
But coming into the second heat, I was ahead of another friend of ours who has a 2015 Mustang, the Track Pack 5.0.
Yep.
And normally I can't beat him in the Omni.
right.
I'm always real close. We're always within a second, but I've never managed to beat him in that car since he's gotten it.
Right.
Coming into the second heat, I was like 4 seconds ahead of him in the Miata, and I was like, damn, maybe I should buy a Miata. You know, I'm beating Chaz in his own car, I'm beating Jack in a car I've never driven before, in a platform I've never driven before, and he's, you know, and so I'm telling all the Miata owners that are there, turns out maybe I need a Miata, and every single one of them goes, "You want to buy mine?" And I realized
That might have been a red flag.
I realized if when you tell a Miata owner, you know what, maybe I should have bought a Miata, and the first thing that comes out of their mouth is, "You can buy mine," that I don't want a Miata.
Everybody
If
was
all
like,
of them
"Sure."
want to get rid of their Miata, turns out it's not as good as they say it is.
This one's for sale. Go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a bit of a red flag.
yeah.
Did you dive into that to figure out why they were selling them?
No, they're not
No,
going to tell you.
they were just.
They all had
No,
this
they're
kinda
perfect.
They're great.
coy smile on their face. Yeah,
Miata
this
is the
one's for
answer.
sale.
Miata is always the answer. That's what they'll tell you.
Is this a giant
Yeah.
conspiracy theory then?
I think it is.
I think
They're
that-
all not telling anybody that doesn't own one what the problem is?
So I think the 1.8 car is a lot better because it makes a little bit more torque, and I think that's like makes a world of difference. And I think Chaz can fix his brake pedal problem, and then that car would be a lot better to drive. But as it stands today, not the best thing I've ever driven. That's for sure. At the end of the day, I rode in a Miata that has an electric drivetrain in it now. It is a fully electric Miata.
Oh, yeah.
I rode with him.
Yeah, so I've seen it around.
And having not driven it, I am going to go out on a limb here and say that was the better Miata.
The electric one.
Yeah, because when he put his foot to the floor,
It did something.
things happen.
Huh. That's
Because
fun.
he has all of the torque right now.
Yeah. Did he have to charge that throughout the day?
Nope.
Huh.
No, he can make a full day, full autocross day, driving there, driving home without it dying.
How far does he live away?
He lives here in Des Moines. That's all I know.
So, like, roughly a half hour, let's say. Let's say he's driving from my house to...
He told me he has roughly an 80-mile range.
Yeah, so he drives 20 miles there, races 20 miles home.
Yeah,
Would be
but
fairly
racing, I
safe.
assume, would use more
Right.
than driving.
Yeah, so you give it double. So
But,
40 miles of driving, 40 miles of racing.
yeah, So-
Whatever.
right. So
That's actually better than I thought he was going to get.
Yeah. I beat you, I think, by a second
beat
and a
me.
half, though. I had a pretty good...
I wanted you to. You better have beaten
The
me.
Fiat did okay. It was running too rich, and it fouled the plugs out at one point, so I had to pull it off the start line to get the plugs cleared, which was a bunch of
in typical
around.
Fiat fashion,
Changing
Michael had
jets.
to thrash on it.
Yeah, I beat the piss out of it.
Proud of you.
And thought that I did more damage to it than I really did. But of course, in typical fashion, I beat the piss out of it and then handed it to my dad broken.
Here you go, Dad. It's your problem now.
Is that 3 cylinders? Shit, take it off the line. So we pulled out the jets and changed the idle jets, changed the main jets, took the plugs out, tried to kind of clean them up and put them back in. But it ran okay. And once we get it rejetted again, I think it'll run really well. But
You know how to fix that.
I do know how to fix that. It's called fuel injection.
Called fuel injection.
I hate them so much.
Gonna
Pain in the ass.
We're just going to beat that dead horse, aren't we?
Well,
I even like carburetors, but I have to take the chance to stab at him.
That's true.
Well, that's why that's why the RX is going to be fuel injection, because I'm fucking tired of jets. They're never. You change them one season, you don't do anything, and the next season they're wrong.
That car, like the leanest it would run was like 11.2. It was stupid rich.
Yeah.
And the other problem is when you change one set of jets, you have to change the other set of jets. So you don't just change. And that car's got 4 carburetors on it. So you're not changing 4 jets, you're changing 8 jets.
And you're not changing 8 jets, you're changing 16 because you can't just put less fuel into it because you also have to change the air venturis if you're changing the fuel jet.
Well, that would be 8 because there's 4 idle jets and 4
okay.
main.
I
Yeah,
gotcha.
it's not 2 per carburetor. It's just 1 per carburetor.
Okay, mine have 2 per carburetor.
So it's just a pain in the ass. And then you're changing 16 jets anyway because the first time you change it, it's still not right. So you change another
Never.
8 jets, and then it's closer to right, and then you just deal with it for the rest
And you
of
got
the
to
day.
find that many. You have to have that many jets.
You have to have a
you
box
gotta-
of jets.
Does my face look as confused as I think it looks?
Yes.
Talking fucking Chinese to me right now. No clue. Actually,
I don't even want to explain. If you're curious about carburetors, first of all,
This
don't,
is the wrong.
Go back to the
don't
70s.
Be, don't be. That would be where I would start. But if you're really, really, really curious about it, I would try Google maybe if it's on there. But it's just, oh my God, what a pain in the ass.
I'm sure there's a YouTube video.
There has to
about
be.
jets. But so anyway, it ran okay and set a decent time, and then I got completely screwed on my PAX number
Why?
because I had to run DP because they didn't have that class set up.
Oh, that's right.
That's right. You were
Go
supposed to be Heritage.
Heritage race.
Yeah, so the SCCA introduced a new heritage class, and they have it split into 2 classes. And Michael's car qualifies for it and has a significantly better PAX time than the class he's stuck in now. So we're hoping to get that added to the roster so that he can race there and be a little better.
I was
Right about the time he's going to get the RX-7 finished and never race in that class anyway.
right, and then I was thinking about taking the Fiat to Nationals, but Nationals doesn't want to have that class.
I think they'll probably add it next year. I bet they do.
Yeah, I think they'll see that people
'Cause
actually.
Cam, that's what happened to Cam. They added Cam, they raced it locally. The following year, they put it at Nationals, and now it's huge.
Yeah, they'll see that people want to use it because I think there are some people out there with vintage race cars that don't want to race autocross because they get screwed in packs.
You all end up in deep prepared and race against Miatas you just can't beat.
Right, or race against fiberglass Alans that were factory-built race cars, which makes no sense
The car's
whatsoever.
so gnarly, though.
It's so sweet, but it doesn't make any sense for the poor little Fiat to have to race against a factory Lotus race car. It's dumb. So anyway, that class, I have been told, will be set up locally, so it will be fine, but I will probably have to follow up on that.
There's been a decent amount of local interest in that class, so it might be a fun class to race in.
Well, I think there's guys with like old Spitfires and stuff that wouldn't race, but they've seen now some publications by the SCCA saying that we're trying to get people with
They
classic
put it-
cars to come out.
The information on that class ended up in Hemmings, and that's where I've noticed a lot of these guys are coming out of the woodwork saying, hey, are you going to use this class? I read it in Hemmings.
Yeah, I might want to come out and try autocross, or I did it 10 years ago and just didn't
10,
really
try
get into
30.
it. Well, that guy that was on the Facebook page, he's not much older than us, but he's got an old Spitfire. He was the one that started the whole topic that descended into
Right.
people saying that they didn't want to do things, and we won't go there, but not mad about it, though, obviously.
Yeah, clearly.
Michael doesn't get mad.
Never been mad before. Not like Robbie.
It's true.
Really? I'm the angry one out of this group.
Well, that's what everybody keeps telling us.
No, he's the negative
I'm the
one.
negative.
Oh, he's the negative one. I can be
Negative
angry.
and angry are different.
You're the angry one.
I can be angry as long as Robbie admits finally that he's negative.
I can be negative.
and I'm the one that interrupts everybody.
That is true.
That's probably fair.
Yeah, so we've all got our role. It's good.
We're a fucking tripod.
We're a fucking team.
And you kick out one leg and we all fall down.
I think you guys did great without me last week.
That's because we had a fill-in who was better dressed.
He had a suit on. Where's your suit?
I assume it's because he came from work.
He came from work, but
No, yeah, he changed to that suit after he got off of work.
I don't believe that.
he stopped. Yeah, he stopped at a gas station.
No, I don't
changed
believe
to
that for a
suit.
second.
Why not?
Because he didn't.
How do you
He
know?
had crocodile,
I know.
he had crocodile skin boots.
Are you serious? Is that what he was wearing?
No,
No,
I'm just kidding.
Oh, damn it. Because you were talking about his shoes, but you never said what they were.
He was by far our
I have no
best
idea.
dressed guest, and we
Of
should have
the
taken
two?
a picture of the two. Yeah.
I mean,
Let's say this: he's the best dressed person that's ever been on this podcast.
Fact.
So out of the 5 people that have been on this podcast, he was, or 6. Katie's been on this podcast.
Yep.
He's the
guess.
best dressed.
all right, whatever.
I'm just saying, it's just a thing. That's all.
Yeah. We should step our game up. I mean, granted, that shirt you're wearing today
This is a great looking shirt for sure.
I think, yeah,
that turned out really well.
Wearing the 1010
he's
shirt.
wearing our swag.
Of course, neither one of you are, and we just got them.
Mine are in the wash.
Excuses.
I was handed them 30 seconds before this started.
You still haven't paid for them. Anyway, so technically they're not yours.
Katie's got the cash. She's watching the dogs at Michael's
Robbie's
house.
not at all mad about it though.
No, I'm not mad.
I think that
So
is
were there
it
any-
for
no,
that.
no.
What
We
else?
got a couple,
There's
so
one more.
there was a guy. So
Oh.
we were walking around the paddock taking pictures. We just took a couple quick pictures, and there was a Prius there, and he was actually racing in a Prius.
He had
Just like the commercial.
he had decals and everything.
Yeah,
No,
he had a
not
bunch
running
of-
from the police in a dumbass fucking commercial.
Not drifting and smoke pouring off the back tires. That never happened.
Oh, that would have been sweet, though.
Yeah, not a thing. Not a thing, Toyota, by the way. You make those cars. You should know better.
Yeah, it upsets me.
Yep. Shame on you.
But he had a bunch of magnetic stickers or magnetic things and all, like the whole 9 yards. But he had just bought that car so recently that he doesn't even have plates on it yet. Like it still had the Stu Hansen dealer tags on it.
What class is he running?
I believe he ended up in H stock
Which is a terrible
or
class to
H
be in.
street. Actually, it's probably the best class to be in if you're worried about packs.
Well, you have to face the Fiesta ST, though.
Yeah, it's a bad place to be if you want to be competitive, but it's got a good packs number.
Yeah, it's true.
But anyway, he apparently was many moons ago. He was a very fast autocrosser, and he used to have a turboed E30, and apparently he was real quick. But none of that matters in this particular scenario. So not only did he do decently well, he ended up faster than Chaz in a Prius
Chaz was beaten in a Miata that he owns
with $2,000 coilovers.
by a
got-
stock Prius.
He got beat by a stock Prius. He got beat by his friend.
He got beat by me, but that's
Got
no
beat by
consolation.
you.
That's normal.
Yeah.
Man,
It was a bad day
that
for
guy's
Chaz.
been beating himself up every day ever since.
Chaz is not going to come on the podcast
Sorry,
anytime
Chaz.
soon.
No,
I'm going to tell him.
it was nice that he printed up stickers and did all this great stuff for us, and now that bridge is burned. So
Yeah, he's
thanks-
gonna
He's
take
a
the
lot,
decal off his
stickers.
car.
He's got 1010 stickers on his Miata. Those will be gone.
Those are
next
coming
week.
off for sure.
Yep.
Oh, well.
Or he'll have our names under it, and then just yours will be crossed off. Robbie's still cool.
Screw this Adam guy.
So, anything interesting there? Anything we saw? There was that. Was that a Grand Sport C4?
There was a Grand Sport Z4. The C4 is not the ZR one.
C4 Corvette Grand Sport.
Grand
so that
Sport.
had the LT5. in it.
LT4 because the
Four?
ZR1 is an LT5. Robbie just gave me the most pissed off, annoyed look.
Damn it! You're talking about LTs.
You're talking about LTs.
That's not true.
No interest.
I was actually trying to clear my throat without
sure.
doing stuff into the mic.
Subconscious face that you made just now.
All right. Well,
was
now that we've already
annoyed.
talked about it,
So the guy had like 335 Hoosiers all the way around on this Corvette.
awesome.
And he had
Yeah.
a huge trailer, like a 30-foot
And
trailer.
He could probably get his car in his trailer. That's nice.
No, he
It
had
was-
boards out too.
And it was very clean, very nice looking Corvette, and I'm not a huge Corvette guy,
No.
but it was a real nice car.
It looked
And
good.
those giant meats on there, it looked the business, right? And so Michael and I were kind of looking at it because Michael's into LT things and whatever. And the guy was kind of walking around cleaning it. And I was like, hey, man, you got a real nice car here. Yep. All right, well, fuck you too. Then.
Yeah, and then I was gritting, and I walked up to him, and I was like, so this has got the LT4 in it, right? Yep. Well, I'm putting one of these in an RX-7. Okay.
Not the nicest guy in the world.
Nothing.
Oh, he owns a Corvette and he's not a nice guy?
Yeah,
Weird.
exactly.
Never saw that coming.
What is with Corvette people?
I don't know.
You would think you got a 68 Camaro, right? Looks pretty clean from the street. You're driving by, right? You're driving the other way. There's a Corvette coming. You give them, hey,
nope.
we're Musco. Fuck you. That's the look they give you every single time. What is wrong with Corvette people?
I don't understand Corvette people.
We should all buy Corvettes. And
No,
then
so-
No,
just
because
troll
you'll
them.
just become
the,
an asshole.
The Corvette I want to own is a C4 Corvette built to the hilt for autocrossing
Okay.
with a 4-cylinder Ecotec in it. And
We're on the same page
He would
now.
be the friendliest Corvette owner
and I'm going
in
to
the
show
world.
up at every NCCC autocross I can show. NCCC is I don't know what this 3C stands for. It's the National Corvette Club. I don't know what the third C is. But they do autocrosses all over the place. I'm going to show up with that car, and I'm just going to be friends with everybody there, and they're going to be like, why is this kid so friendly? What is he doing here? What kind of stupid motor did he put in his Corvette? How dare
They're
he?
going to know. He's going to keep the hood shut, but they're going to know.
No, I'm not going to keep the hood shut.
Well, wait till you get out on the autocross.
The second the car gets pulled off the trailer, I'm going to pop the hood. And if that car is not in staging lanes or on the track, the hood will be open. And I'll be like, look at my 4-cylinder. Look at my 4-cylinder. Look at it. Just all the time.
They'll probably burn it to
I'm
the
going
ground.
to have a giant turbo hanging off the side of it. I'm probably going to have to cut a hole in the hood for the turbo to fit.
They're going to burn
And
it
it's
to the
going to
ground.
be the greatest thing ever.
It's going to be just like a Japanese bike at Sturgis back in the day.
Yeah, exactly.
It's going to be hung from a tree.
Yeah, I'm gonna piss people off by being the nicest person there
You go ahead and you kill them with
with
kindness.
the best Corvette anyone's ever seen.
I think
And
it's a
then
big improvement.
I'm gonna FTD it because it's gonna be the best setup one.
I would not be mad about this at all.
I wouldn't be surprised because, every time you guys have gone to a Corvette autocross, you've cleaned up because
Yeah, Josh beat them all in a stock Miata with Hoosiers on
those
it.
guys just don't know how to autocross for some reason.
Well, when we take our autocross mildly serious. We do a number of events a year. Those guys show up for one a year and expect to be fast. That's not how it's going to go down.
No, absolutely not.
And they're running on the same set of tires that came on the car when they bought it 12 years ago because they put 3,000 miles a year on it.
And nobody understands that tires just fall apart. Oh, by the way, rubber it will degrade. You can't just leave the same tires on your car because muscle car guys do that all the time because it's hard to buy 15s now that are the right size, that are big enough. You can't just leave them on there for like 5 years. It's not a thing.
Yes, you can. Absolutely.
No, don't do it. That's fucking dangerous. Do not do that.
If you're wondering what we're talking about, go back to our tire discussion on the previous podcasts.
So I think that was all for that autocross.
Yeah, there wasn't a
We
whole
look
lot
forward to the next one, which is there's
have
one in
no
May.
idea.
There's one May 1st, but we're not going to that one.
there. That's an Oski. I don't like driving to Oski.
No,
It's kind of a long drive. My car's a miserable ride. So,
there's too many opportunities to go to Oski, and I just really don't want to
between
go.
the two regions, I think there are 9 events there this year.
That
Well,
is
there's-
absurd.
Is it May that there's 2 in a row? Like 2
Well,
weekends in a row?
Yeah.
there's one that there's one of those is a Saturday Sunday event, and that's
Yep.
the Iowa Challenge, and that one I would like to go to because
That's-
it's a
is that
2-day
that's a-
autocross extravaganza.
That's in May, right?
I think that's actually in June. The one in
Well,
May
what's the one in May? They have the test and tune.
is the
and
test and tune on Saturday and the autocross on Sunday.
Well, there's
Yeah.
another one a week before.
I think
too.
the event before that one is also in Oskaloosa, but it's Iowa
That's
region.
probably Iowa region.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not May 1st is the Iowa region Oskaloosa event, and then the 14th and 15th is the Oskaloosa DMVR event.
Okay.
So there is a week in the middle.
No, you might want to verify on your calendar then. The one that you update. Either you need to update that or refresh your memory.
Well, regardless,
Doesn't matter.
I don't.
No, it
I don't
doesn't.
want to go to
It doesn't.
Oskaloosa that more than like twice this year.
I'm on the same page.
It's not worth it.
It's such a long drive. It's
a
so
long
far out of
drive.
the way.
And it's not that it's not a good place to do it, but unfortunately, they've both clubs have figured out that it's a really cheap place to do it, and so they just hammer as many of those into the schedule as they can.
Which I guess we've had a hard time finding places and keeping places for a multitude of reasons, and so I guess that's the only place we can race. Because we're not going to go back to Iowa Speedway because not only is their lot one of the worst lots I've ever raced on, but it's also 6 times the money. And a lot of times we end up losing money on those events because we don't get the numbers to pay for it.
Didn't somebody damage something there last time?
Yeah, somebody ran into a barrier, I thought.
Didn't a Corvette hit something
Someone put the tail end of their Corvette into the fence.
into the fence?
Yeah.
Whoops.
That'll ruin it because we used to be at the Iowa State Fairgrounds too.
That's not the reason we're not going back, though.
Oh, it's not.
The club decided not to go back because it's too expensive and the lot is not worth it.
For some reason, they stopped doing it where they do the Good Guys event because we used to do it there at the fairgrounds.
Yeah, I can't speculate on that.
Well, that's where the Lotus ran into the
I
Jersey
understand
barrier.
that, but I don't know.
They seem to have a thing for not going back to places where bad things have happened.
Well, I can understand that.
Yep.
Kind of is what it is, though. I mean, shit happens. It's racing.
I don't know.
I
But
think that's it.
You want to move on to the news?
Let's do the
Let's
news.
talk about the news. All right, let's start off. Sergio, we all know Sergio.
Our favorite.
it's our
auto
favorite. It's our
executive.
favorite guy.
Our Fiat CEO, Fiat Chrysler CEO.
FCA.
FCA CEO. I think he's the president of Ferrari or something like that.
Either way, he's pretty awesome. He calls out Elon Musk, saying that he could build a car like the Model 3, but in 12 months. And I guess...
If he wanted to.
He
Yes.
can't be bothered to do so, though.
Yeah, it's shit.
He doesn't want. Sergio has been on more than one occasion. He has voiced that he does not like this electric car thing.
Nope. That's because, as we mentioned before, they're losing money on the 500Es, Fiat 500Es.
That they have to make for California.
Right. So he doesn't want to have much to do with them. He's quoted as saying you would have to shoot him before Ferrari makes an all-electric car.
Yep.
So
A man after my own heart.
he is our favorite auto executive, and he can contact us at
It's not even a contest
at
for that.
10tenspodcast at gmail.com if he wants to let us know what kind of sponsorship programs they're running now, because we would love to bring them on.
Yeah.
Maybe we should send him an email.
We should email him. He's busy making fun of Elon Musk, so he can't be bothered to email us. But that's fine. We will be in contact with him. But I think it's funny that he, just being who he is, can just say, you know what? Fuck you. I could make that car, but you know what? I don't think I'm going to.
Yeah. A little backstory. So the Model 3 received 400,000 advanced orders.
It's up to 400,000 now?
400,000 advanced orders, which is
Jesus.
beyond.
It's absolutely
beyond stupid.
ridiculous.
But he was quoted as saying, if Musk can show me that the car will be profitable at that price, I will copy the formula, add the Italian design flair, and get it to the market within 12 months.
That's the other thing that's funny. He just blatantly says, I will copy what you're doing
But make it better.
But make it better.
By make it being Italian.
and do it in 12
Yeah,
months.
his biggest, like, he hates electric cars and whatever, but like, he still doesn't believe that they could sell it for $35,000 and be profitable. And,
Which
we
I
went
think
down that road already
people
too.
somewhat agree with him. I think that's why nobody else has called their shot on making a Model 3 competitor, because I think they want to see where this
China
goes.
did.
Well, China's China.
Yeah.
Either they will or they won't. Someone will go bankrupt. It doesn't really matter. But
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we went down that road and discussed it too, saying that there's no way they'll sell for 35. Like, your base model will be 35. They'll sell it for 50.
if you want, any
That's
type
not
of
even
options.
what he's talking about. What he's saying is, even if people did buy the optionless
Right.
car, $35,000, you will lose money on it.
Right, absolutely. And I think we'd all agree.
Yeah, and let's look at all the issues they're having with the Model X right now.
I don't really know because I don't keep track.
I don't follow that at all.
They're just having tons of issues with those stupid doors.
I know
which
that
has
there
been
was
going
some
on forever.
There was some longevity concerns with the Model S because
Right.
they've been out longer, so they have some more mileage on them.
Yeah, yeah. So I think his point is, okay, based on the test or the Lotus thing, which didn't really go over very well, their little electric Lotus car. I don't even remember
Which is
what
the
that
best
was
car
called.
they've made yet. The Roadster.
And then the S, which had some quality issues, is having some quality issues, and the X,
Longevity.
which is having a lot of quality issues. You're telling me you're going to make a car that's a third the cost of those two, and it's just going to work great, and there's not going to be any problems, and you're going to make money on it?
No.
He's got a point.
So did you know? Fun fact about the Tesla, and this is something that I actually think is pretty cool about the Tesla. They're built on like a skateboard platform that is shared between the model lines, and they put a different body on them.
Oh, really? No,
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And there's been a big call to Tesla to make those available to boutique brands now that Obama has allowed us to, or the government, maybe not Obama specifically, but the government of our country has allowed us to have this rule where if you only sell 200 cars or less, you can build whatever you want and you don't necessarily have to fall under all of the bullshit regulations that everyone else has to fall under. Now people want to be able to buy this skateboard from Tesla and put their own body on it and build their own special boutique brand cars on Tesla's frame.
Oh,
which I think would be kind of cool.
Yeah, I think it'd be a great business for Tesla. Quite
yeah.
frankly, if I was Elon Musk, I would rather just build the skateboard thing. It's way less risk. Just build the skateboard thing, sell it to other people, have them deal with the design and all that other nonsense.
Do you remember, harken back here to your childhood, watching 101 Dalmatians?
yeah, it's been many, many years.
Do you remember the car that Corella DeVille drives?
Hell
Yes.
yeah.
It's kind of like a Duesenberg, isn't it?
It's out
Baller.
of control.
Baller.
Baller. It balls beyond ball. It's crazy.
You lost me at balls.
It's quite the deal.
It's too many balls for Robbie.
Jonathan Ward, who is the owner of Icon,
Yes.
and they build some of the coolest, like, resto mod, if you want to call them that. They build like Singer Porsches, except that they build FJ Cruisers.
Yeah, I knew
and
the
they
Cruisers.
build some awesome stuff. If you don't know who they are, you should look into them. He has a concept that he desperately wants to build that he calls the Helios, which uses that Tesla skateboard, and he builds his own body on it that is very reminiscent of Corella DeVille's car. And if you go on and you Google Helios, you can find pictures and concept drawings that this guy's made. It's the coolest thing in the world.
That's awesome.
It would
It
be
is-
like a $400,000 car, though.
I've heard him talk about, like, if someone came to him and said, I want you to build me that, if someone actually commissioned him to build it, he'd probably have to charge him $2 million, and he's not sure he'd make money on it.
Yeah, I believe that because he's building these cruisers for $140,000.
No.
They're more
double
than
that.
Yeah, they're more than
Well,
that. Even.
on the podcast I was listening to, that's what he said was 140, but I don't know what year that was.
I think most of those sell between the $200,000 and $400,000 mark by the time it's all said and
Or
done.
maybe it's 140 his cost.
I don't know.
Could be 140 starting out, just like Tesla. Yeah, you can
Yeah,
get one for
I
35,
suppose.
but you're not driving out of here for less than 55. Well, you're spending $200K plus on anything that John Ward touches.
Crazy.
But that Helios thing is sweet.
Yeah, definitely.
So Tesla should get on that, because that would be a market that I think that they could actually do well in, and nobody else has a product that they could do that with. They would probably get a decent amount of sales off of doing that,
Yeah. That's all I would do.
and then maybe they could actually sell this Model S or Model
Three?
3.
Not E.
3. Got confused there for a second. But yeah, so
What else we got, Robbie?
All right, so Cadillac loses its first place position due to over boosting cheating.
how much are we talking, like 2 or 3 psi, or are we talking
I
10?
can't remember.
12?
So this
That's gotta be
is for
minimal.
the Pirelli World Championship,
which is one of my favorite racing series.
and we're talking about the ATS-V-V.R.
Which is awesome looking.
Sick.
Such a
Ridiculous.
cool little
So
car.
cool. But it's really ridiculous. From what I heard, basically they do like a post-tech inspection on all the cars after they take them off. And so they plug the laptop in, and they saw 2 spikes caused by traction control. No idea what that means. But apparently traction control cut in or cut out or something and caused the car to overboost. And we're talking, less than a second, I'm sure.
And significant pressures, or
No, I don't think so. There's very little information about this, but it was enough to give him a 10-second penalty. And the driver of the car, and I think the guy from K-Pax that had the McLaren that won, were both kind of like, yeah, but it wouldn't have affected the race result any, so why?
that's usually how that goes.
What's the point of the penalty?
Like, I know if I was the driver of the McLaren that was deemed the winner, that would be the most empty victory I have.
He was quoted as saying, I wish we would have won on the track, or something to that extent.
Yeah, who wants to win on a technicality?
Yeah, after the fact, you think you've come in second, you do your podium thing, oh, post-tech, sorry, 10-second penalty, you're the winner now.
Like, hooray for the points, but the rest of this year, as far as that guy is concerned, has been marred because those points weren't really his.
Yeah, it sucks.
So if he wins the championship this year, forevermore, that season will have been won largely because of a technicality.
And
Or maybe not largely, but in some way, shape, or form.
And one that wouldn't have affected the race result if it hadn't happened.
Most likely. He
Yeah.
may have been a fraction of a second closer to him, but he still would have been in second.
Right. Which is better than what happened to Audi's LMP1 car, though, because they got straight disqualified.
Yeah, which
It's
sucks.
stupid. So they had was it a crash bar? Is that what it was?
No, it was a. Yeah, it was a crash bar. Sorry, I thought it was a splitter.
Or a split?
No, it's a crash bar.
a crash bar
It's up front, though.
that was like it's supposed to be 20 millimeters thick, and it was less than that. And I don't know the exact measurement of what it was, but again, post-tech inspection.
How did they not catch this pre-tech
Well,
inspection?
that's what I don't know.
The Cadillac thing I get.
Yeah,
You know, that
it was
you're
a
not
program.
going to.
It was a weird thing. It happened.
Someone lost their job.
Yeah. Sorry.
But, okay, so Cadillac can move on from that and make sure it doesn't happen again. But number one, why did Audi let this go through? And number two, how did it get through tech inspection?
It would have gone through tech to start,
It should have.
and then it would have gone through tech at the end, and they caught it at the end, which makes no sense.
Nope.
The only
don't get
thing I can think of is that if for some reason there was an accident or something happened on the track and they swapped them. And the one that they swapped to was thinner than the one that they took off. But I don't even know why that would have happened.
It's on my DVRs. Haven't had time to watch it yet.
That was at the 6 hours of Silverstone. So there is a possibility that could have happened. Something happened to the car. They had to swap apart, and this new crash skid block thing was thinner than the original one.
I don't know if you know this, but that is the debut of that car.
So it's the first time it's been out.
First time that car has been on track competitively.
Something about it seems weird.
So that may very well have been a design flaw.
It could have been.
But how do you miss that? Because I feel like that's got to be I haven't opened up the rule book and read it, but that's got to be a pretty clear-cut rule.
Oh, they had the rule cited. It's, whatever the number is, but they had a citation for that rule. Here it is. This is thinner than that, but they should have caught it in
And it's in millimeters, right?
It's in millimeters.
So the Germans can't be like, oh,
Inches.
I thought you said inches. I thought millimeters. It was a conversion
No.
problem.
No. But Audi apparently wasn't going to appeal it, and now they have. But I don't know that that's been settled yet. Probably won't be.
Because last year, Porsche slapped them across the face. Just whack. We're faster than you. Your car has no chance. We're going to win every race we enter.
Deal with it.
Get over it. And so Audi was like, well, this can't happen twice. So they built a brand new car. And this car is radically different from last year. Runs in a whole new level class, makes way more power on the electrical side of things, is a completely revamped chassis. First time out with this car.
Straight disqualified. Not even a penalty.
Not a good start.
So-
Way worse than the Ford GT start.
Oh yeah, terrible.
So I don't know the details of the appeal. Maybe it's like 19.99 millimeters thick, and they're like, cut us a break here, because that wouldn't have affected the race
Another
result.
coat of paint.
We would have been there. But that happened like last weekend, and I still haven't seen an update on that. So who knows if that's going to go anywhere.
I want to watch the race. I have it on my DVR, but they obviously don't air the whole 6 hours, so I have to have like an hour highlight reel.
Yeah,
And it's not going to have any information on that because it was post the race.
correct. What's up next, Robbie?
This is what's going to get everyone fired up. NASCAR changes rules to not require all 5 lug nuts, and then fines Tony Stewart $35,000 for telling you that it's fucking dumb.
So first of all, before we dive into this and start screaming about how stupid it is, I think that what the rule was they used to require an official standing there watching them put lug nuts on the car before it could go back out into the race. And they decided that they don't want that official, but you are to self-police.
Is that what it is?
And what has happened is they don't self-police, and they're sending cars out with less lug nuts than what is required because it's fractionally of a second faster not to put all 5 on, just put 3 on and get it back out on the
Right.
Well,
track.
so what I read was that the rule does not state they have to put 5 lug nuts on. The thing about the official is absolutely correct. They don't want to have more people in the pit than they need, which I understand. It's, being in a pit is not a safe place.
No, it's a very dangerous place to be.
I totally understand that. But the rule does not require you to have all 5 lug nuts on. So if you send a car out and somebody realizes after the fact, hey, you only got 3 lug nuts on there, they can't say, well, pull that guy, he's getting a penalty, et cetera, et cetera. Nope, he's good to race.
God damn it.
You wouldn't put 3 lug nuts on a car that you only drove up to 65 miles an hour every day.
And people are doing this at 220.
This is 200 miles an hour.
And they're fractions of an inch apart from each other.
Tony Stewart, in his comments, said that there have been more wheels off this year than, previous years, obviously.
Shocking statistic.
And so the real issue here, and I think Jalopnik pointed this out, is that if you fine Tony Stewart $35,000 for saying that's unsafe, what else is going on?
Yeah. How can they fine a guy for speaking out against something that he does not feel comfortable with as a race car driver?
Right. He says, this is unsafe. People are going to get hurt. Sorry, you're going to get fined.
So to me, it almost goes down to the like how they changed the truck series rules, where they bring them together after X number of minutes or laps.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the yellow lap, or whatever they call
the yellow
it.
lap. So they bring them all close together, so they're all a big bunch again. So then 2 laps later, they're gonna fucking crash.
And then the guy in the middle loses a wheel.
Yeah, which is why to me, I'm thinking, well, they're okay with only having 3 lug nuts because they're going to crash more often, and more people are going to watch NASCAR
Yeah.
because there's more crashes.
But
Exactly.
How many times has a wheel come off with 5 lug nuts and ended up in the crowd and seriously injured people?
More often than it should have.
I mean, and they
It
have
should
these-
never happen.
It
They
should
have
never
these
happen.
Huge fences,
Yep.
and there's still debris ending up in
In the crowd.
the crowds. So if you're doing something where that would make that more of a possibility,
It's outrageous.
those people
It's
should
so
be
stupid.
sued for negligence.
Absolutely. And they're going to win every time. Like,
And
if they-
I am not the type of person who thinks we should sue all the time. I hate how often this world sues.
I agree.
But that is absolute insanity.
Straight
well,
negligence.
that's just any decent lawyer. If a tire comes off, goes into the crowd, which it's already done in the past, which it's probably going to do again, hits somebody, kills them, their family's lawyer is going to win because they're just like, oh, we didn't check to see that there was enough lug nuts on. There was only 3.
These things should have 8 lug nuts on them.
Or they should go the Formula One route and have one big one with the locking
Yeah,
thing.
that's what everybody
Yeah.
was saying is, why don't they just go to 1 lug nut then?
Because they want to maintain their stock car.
Well, they had carburetors up until like 2011 or something.
There's not a goddamn thing on those cars that's stock.
No,
They're,
shit.
they're as far from race car as a they're as far from a stock street car as a Formula One car is. When it comes to the technology and the platform that is used, it just as well be an open wheel, open cockpit Formula One car for the similarity it holds to a Toyota Camry.
Right, it's not based on shit. It vaguely looks like I don't even know what that. We don't watch.
They have
we don't watch
spec
it.
chassis.
Weren't they Camrys when Toyota was doing it? Like that's what they
Toyota
called them?
still does it.
Yeah, they still do
Aren't they Camrys?
Yes.
Yeah, supposedly.
That's not a Camry.
They have Camry stickers on them.
Exactly.
They're spec chassis.
They're all the same?
Yes, they're all the car of tomorrow. The only thing that is different within those cars is the engine that moves it. And it is regulated to the point where they're essentially the same damn thing too. NASCAR, that's why I don't get NASCAR. They're all identical vehicles with different power plants, but those power plants are limited
Basically
to
the
a certain
same.
amount of horsepower and a certain amount of torque and a certain amount of RPM. So they're essentially the same damn things too.
I don't get this supposed sport. I don't get it.
Don't either.
Why? All that NASCAR does now is it's just an excuse for people to crash into each other.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
You want that? Go watch the figure 8 race at the county fair.
Oh, I'd love
That's
to do
way
that.
more interesting.
I would rather watch
figure
that.
eights. What?
Figure 8's awesome. I
Yeah.
grew up going to those
At least you're going
all the time.
like 50 miles an hour when you run into somebody instead of 200.
And you know what? No one ever died in the crowd there from a tire flying off because they had lug nuts.
Let's not say no one ever.
don't
Let's
know.
not make a claim we can't back up.
None of the ones I ever went to.
I never died when I went to
There you
one.
go.
Robbie.
I've been to dozens. I can safely say that.
Please tell me that we're going this year and we're going to have a podcast about
Sure,
how
we
awesome
should.
it is.
We should. I love figure eight.
I've
races.
never
Why
been
not?
do
to.
it.
I've never been to a figure eight.
What? You
It's
grew
so
up in
much-
You've never been to a
Northwest
tractor
Iowa?
pull. I've never been to a figure eight
You grew
race.
up in Northwest Iowa and never went to a figure 8 race.
What did you do on a Friday night?
All of the high school sleuts were at the figure 8
What the
race.
fuck were you doing?
Chasing the other suits.
No, there
You
were
were
no
waste-
other
that
ones.
was the wrong sleuts. The
Robbie,
trashiest of
yeah,
sleuts.
we've been through this
were
so
at
many
the figure
times.
8
If you're looking
race.
for trashy sleuts, they're at the fucking figure eight race.
I was not.
For sure.
All the rest of them were at home, I assume, reading
Like, these are
Bibles, going to bed
17-year-old
early.
girls- These are 17-year-old girls who already have a tramp stamp and a nose ring.
They went to Missouri specifically because the tattoo law down there is 16.
Is it really?
With parental consent, you get a tattoo. That's why you got to be careful. That's why you ID, Robbie. You always ID.
That's why I always went older.
Well, you could also ID. I'm just saying. Just she's got a tattoo. Don't just take that as, she's 18. Be careful.
Well, that's the same like the laws in South Dakota. They can get a license at 14. Oh, she can drive to me. No, she's 14.
What? Really?
Yeah, South Dakota, you can drive at 14.
Oh, man, that's terrifying.
That's bizarre. That seems like a terrible idea.
I can't believe it's still a thing. Maybe it's not a thing. It was, 10 years ago.
Well, you can't drive until you're like 18 in Germany,
Wow.
Yeah, that's true.
but you can drink at 16.
Well, yeah.
You can get beer. I have been to Germany. You can get beer at McDonald's in the drive-thru.
What?
Yeah.
Yep.
You get drive-through beer?
Yeah, at McDonald's.
Presumably, obviously, you have to drink and drive. Then what's the law on that? Do we know?
There's passengers.
But can the driver drink it?
One person shows up by themselves. That's for the passenger. They're over
Yeah.
there.
What's the rule on this?
I don't know. I was 9.
That's
okay?
why-
All I remember is taking a picture of my mom and my aunt who were Vanna Whiting a drive-through because there was
A
a giant
drive-through
glass
beer.
of beer in the center of it.
It's like Missouri then, because I do not do this until you read the law, but I'm pretty sure that the law says the driver can drink in the car as long as he's under the limit. And you can definitely drink in the car if you're a passenger, for sure.
I know you can drink as a passenger.
You can have an open container in Missouri in the car.
Cigarette taxes are way less there too, because when I used to work for the pipeline, we'd drive out of our way. My boss would drive out of his way to go through Missouri, and they'd buy cartons of cigarettes. And if we got pulled over, we would have been hit with smuggling because they had passed
So many
They had
cigarettes.
passed the limit where it no longer becomes, or where it's no longer legal to be transporting.
It's like tax
those.
evasion at that point.
Yes, they would buy enough to do that.
Wow.
There was a number. They were aware of it. Didn't care.
They went past it.
Yep.
And you could have a road beer while you're doing it.
Wow.
Missouri's a crazy place, man.
Man,
We should move there.
They got better roads. You can
they have way more fun roads. I didn't believe you until this weekend.
Yeah. So you could drive around on those roads, and everybody else in your car could be drunk, and you could be drinking as well,
As long as you're not over the limit.
as long as you're not over the
That's
limit.
why you need a breathalyzer in your car. Oh, man, I'm way ahead of the game.
You have a breathalyzer in your car? Yeah. Oh,
Is
that's
this
right.
a court mandated breathalyzer?
Oh my gosh. Are you ready for this?
Maybe.
Are you ready for this?
Probably
This is
not.
the opportunity that Robbie's been dreading.
Oh yes. No! Yes.
Robbie has a breathalyzer, a keychain breathalyzer. Why? Because he's Rob's responsibilities.
Oh, my God. It hurts so bad to hear. It hurts so bad.
When we
to hear
were in
that.
college, Robbie would if he
crying.
would go out with his roommates and they would all drink, Robbie would be good so that he didn't get too drunk because they had driven and someone had to drive him home because he was Rob's responsibilities.
Damn it. It's not wrong.
That's one. I've got more.
It's true. I did. Like I would, if everyone else was like 3 sheets to the wind, I'd slow down to make sure we got home.
Boom. Rob's
My
responsibilities.
world has been changed.
So,
I think I'm disappointed. I'm not sure.
so like when we went out drinking the other night, I didn't need it, but had I felt like I was close to the limit, I would have busted it out and blew in it.
So you had it with
He's got
you?
a keychain breathalyzer.
It's in my center console. So if I'm questionable, I'll check it.
Rob's
I
responsibilities.
will stand. I stand behind this. I think it's the fucking smartest thing anybody can do.
It's a
It's a
he's
good
absolutely
idea.
right.
It's
I think
a
it's
good idea.
fantastic
It
that
is-
he does it,
it
and
is a
more
good
people
idea.
should.
And what does that thing cost? Like $20?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I think I paid $17. Like, and if you want something, it's not accurate. Like, I'm not going to be like.
Yeah,
I'm not
guess
gonna,
what?
I'm not going
Cop.
to. Yeah, I'm
It's
not
not
going
going to hold up in
Yeah,
the court
it's
of
not
law.
gonna
I'm
hold
not
up in
going to
court.
blow into it and then go and blow into a cop's same breathalyzer and have him go, "Oh, yours is off." Of course it's off. But you got like if it's close, go get a cheeseburger and wait.
Was it worth the buildup?
Yeah, it was. My concern with the name.
He's so mad.
My concern with the name is that doesn't just come from one instance.
No, it was a pretty regular thing.
Yeah.
Robbie was always the careful one. in
Not
his
only
ring.
I mean in outside of the drinking and driving thing, I'm curious what else he did in college.
You know, I can't really remember any specific instances, but
It was always related to skating and drinking.
it wasn't even. I did not coin this term.
No,
that
it was my roommate freshman year.
Yep, that was someone else.
Are we going to go down the rest of the path of this?
No, I'm holding
No, we
got
got to
to
save it.
Can we just knock it out?
No.
No, we have several hundred
I wanna-
episodes
He's
that we still
dreading-
have
I
to do
want to band-aid it right now.
to spread this over.
We were doing so good.
We have to catch up to Joe Rogan. 700 episodes.
Handsome Rob was catching on.
It was not.
I don't think I've ever been so excited this entire time as the minute it dawned on me. Holy shit! This is the moment I've been waiting for.
And I set him up so perfectly.
Oh
I'm
my
so happy
God.
right now.
We should end this because it's a perfect time to end on that note.
I will see you next week, probably.
Everybody from 1010's podcast, thanks you for listening. That includes Michael Beck, Adam Nielsen, and Rob Sponsibility. We will
Handsome
catch
Rob,
you guys.
please.
Rob Sponsibility would like you to find our Instagram account and find us on Facebook and Twitter. And we
Hashtag Rob Sponsibilities.
Yeah, hashtag us at Rob Sponsibility. And we will catch you guys next week.
Yep, don't make it drive.
Welcome back to 1010's podcast. Is Adam fucking
Holy cows! You know what?
Let's start this. Let's start this
second
over.
into it.
Let's start over again. Ready?
We can edit that one out.
Edit gap. Wait for the edit gap.